Good morning, everyone. This is Kelly, and Sarah's sitting here with me as well, and welcome to our May webinar for Office Tenant Competitors, where we're going to talk about transportation and employee benefits. We know the transportation topic on your scorecards has come up in all of our one-on-one meetings as an area that you want to focus on over the next year, so we think you'll have some good takeaways from today's webinar. Just a little bit about today's webinar in case it's your first webinar that you're joining us for. We do encourage you to use the telephone. If you've joined via your computer speakers, that means when it comes time for Q&A, you'll have to type your question into the chat window of the webinar software. If you did dial in over the telephone, you should have entered three numbers, a phone number, an access code, and an audio pin. And if you entered all three of those numbers correctly, then when it's time for the Q&A portion of today's webinar, you can simply click the little hand icon in the webinar software tool, and we will call on you and unmute you, and you can ask your question and talk to us over the phone. The webinar, as with all of our webinars through the Green Games program, is being recorded, and we will post it shortly after today's webinar concludes to the Arlington Green Games website under the Events tab. And just a reminder, you can go online and access any of those previous recordings. So for today's agenda, we will be hearing presentations from Arlington Transportation Partners, Urban Trans, and then a best practice presentation from the Hilton Garden Inn located in Shirlington. And then we'll save the end of the webinar for all questions and answers. Just a real quick program update. We have close to 130 competitors now registered for the program. That is about 15 million square feet of commercial office space, which is about a third of the office space in Arlington County. So we're very happy with those numbers. It has obviously been very well received, very popular, and so we did make the decision to extend registration through the end of June. That means that if you're a property manager, you still have time to get office tenants signed up, and if you're an office tenant, you still have time to earn that extra point on your scorecard by referring another company to participate in the program. Those who join now through June will just have a shorter period of time to actually implement their actions because everybody's final scorecard and trackers will be due by the end of February 2012. And then as you probably know, we have been collecting all of the baseline scorecards from our office tenant competitors, and we've nearly completed all of the one-on-one meetings where we've sat with you and done a debrief of your baseline scorecard results and where you want to focus your efforts over the next year. And you should have received a debrief email from us shortly after our meeting highlighting what we discussed and providing you with the resources. And we will be following up on bigger ticket items in the coming weeks. So with that, I'll turn it over to Sarah, and she'll introduce our speakers.
Thanks, Kelly. So our first speaker today is Pinky Adani with Arlington Transportation Partners. Pinky joined ATP in May of last year as a manager of business development. She's specializing in employer outreach, and she works actively to engage Arlington County businesses in creating commuter benefits programs for their employees. Through interaction with both employers and employees, she is able to provide consultation to discuss those findings and make recommendations based on each company's individual needs. Pinky is also ATP's social media expert. So I'll go ahead and hand it right over to Pinky.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Kelly, for the wonderful introduction. And I'm very happy to present on behalf of ATP at today's Green Games seminar. Just to start off with, one moment, I think I'm having some technical difficulties here.
You can just click the little icon in the bottom right corner next to where it says 83%. Go over.
Like a little projector screen icon.
See it says 83% in the bottom right. To the left of that little icon, just click that.
Where does it say 83%?
Down in the bottom right of your screen.
Or you can just go to View Slideshow, Pinky.
Let me do that.
There you go.
Okay. So Arlington Transportation Partners is a division of Arlington County Commuter Services within the Department of Environmental Services. And we work with employers like some of you who are there today online, and businesses and residential communities and hoteliers in Arlington County to either implement or enhance your existing transit benefits that you are offering to your employees. The next slide that I have is how does ATP fit in? As I mentioned, we are part of the ACCS family, that's the Arlington County Commuter Services family. We work alongside with many other organizations such as the Commuter Store, Walk Arlington, Bike Arlington, the web team, the research team, and then we have a great marketing team, and we work with a lot of site plans and developers. Walk Arlington and Bike Arlington are part of ATP, and they are housed in the same office as us in 1501 Wilson Boulevard. So that was just a brief background I wanted to just share with you about what ATP is and what we do for the employers and the other businesses in Arlington County. So we are constantly working to make an impact in Arlington County to improve the quality of life, to improve the transportation options around that we have here. So last year in 2010, we conducted a survey to really know the impact that we are making and all the hard work that we are doing, what is the impact of that's having in the county. And with no surprise, we have some numbers. I had some numbers to share with you. With all our efforts together, as the whole ACCS effort together, we were able to reduce 39,600 trips off the road by helping people switch from driving alone to either using any kind of public transit, carpool, vanpooling, or walking. 39,000 trips is approximately 26,500 gallons of fuel every day. The less fuel consumed also means less air pollution. So we are able to maintain a better quality of life, better pollution in the county. And for people who like numbers, I have the whole stats on the next slide, which just talks about how each one of us, what was our contribution in the amount of trips reduced, the miles reduced, the amount of nitrogen oxide we were able to reduce. I highlighted the employer services because that's particularly what I work on. I work with a lot of employers to work on encouraging them to support their employees to use other forms of transportation other than driving alone. So I wanted to highlight that we were able to reduce 24,000 trips, which is about 398 thousand miles on road reduced. We saw a lot of increase in people like riding their bikes to work or walking. My next slide is the main thing is transit benefits. This is basically our bread and butter of ATP. Like I mentioned, we really encourage and work with employers to either implement or increase their existing transit benefits. Now, just to give everybody a brief overview what exactly transit benefits is. Transit benefits can be added to any existing package of programs such as your health insurance, medical, dental, any kind of insurance that you are offering your employees. This could be just an added benefit. It's a tax-free transit. The tax-free transit benefit allows employers to provide employees up to $230 per month. the best part is, unlike with ordinary wage paying, one moment. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties here. Yes, sorry. The best part is, unlike with ordinary wage payment, employers do not have to pay their share of federal payroll taxes on tax-free transit benefits, and the cost of providing this benefit can be deducted as a normal business expense. It saves you as an employer some money, as well as saves money to an employee too. Why transit benefits? I'm sure most employers feel that why should we be offering transit benefits? It definitely, a lot of advantages of offering transit benefits. It reduces the commuting stress. It's time saving. I just outlined a few. It's more productive time riding than driving. You have a happier employee who's not tired of just sitting on the wheel for hours together. So when he or she comes to work, the employee is more productive. Recruitment and retention of employees, safe commuting, less accidents, less vehicle wear and tear for an employee, so you don't have to, spend too much money on getting your car fixed, repairs, insurance, none of that. Reduce parking costs, so the employer has to pay less for parking in case you are providing a parking subsidy to your employees. You would be, if they start using transit or other alternatives, less parking spaces means, you pay for less. It's straight money in your pocket. And of course, the most importantly, it improves the quality of life. Now, there are different options as an employer that you can offer for, that you can use to implement a transit benefit. One is an employee contribution, which is a tax-free transit benefit provided as an employer contribution, allows you to give your employees up to $230 per month in benefits to commute to work by transit or van pool. This sort of contribution is an employer, you just write off $230 you give each month to your employees. The other option is a pre-tax deduction from employees' paychecks. That's again a tax-free transit benefits provided as a pre-tax benefit, permits your employees to have up to $230 taken out of their current monthly pay to put towards the actual cost of commuting on transit or van pool before taxes are applied. And the third option is where you could do a combination. As an employer, you can do partial that you are giving them directly, and partial the employee can contribute. And of course, ATP can work with you if you decide to implement any of these transit benefits. ATP can, work with you, and we'd be happy to guide you from, A to Z about how to implement the transit benefit. I don't want to get into too much detail about the whole taxes part on our webinar today, because it can get a little confusing. So I just wanted to just give you a brief overview about the different options that you have of implementing a transit benefit. And once you decide you want to go ahead and do it, we can speak more in detail. You can obviously get in touch with us. The next thing is managing your transit benefit. There are different ways that you can manage your transit benefits. You can do it directly through WMATA, which is free because they don't charge any service fee or anything. It's local, and it's directly through Metro. Or you can, the other option is the commuterdirect.com. The advantage is it's local again, but however, with Commuter Direct, there is a fee associated with it. It's a third-party vendor to WMATA, and it also has, the good thing about Commuter Direct is it has all local transit provider passes, such as MARC and VRE. The other one that we recommend is WageWorks. WageWorks is national. It's not local like WMATA or Commuter Direct. Once again, this has a fee associated with it, and it's really good for multi-office productions. Like if you have an office in Arlington and then you have another office in San Francisco, or could be your third office in Texas. So WageWorks is really good when you're working with multi-office productions. The next one is Commuter Check, which is again national, just like WageWorks. It's fee-based and it works pretty similar to Commuter Direct. But if you are just a local, employer in Arlington, WMATA is the best because firstly it's free, it's local, and it's through Metro. And so our next slide is how ATP can help you. There are a bunch of ways that we help our employers who want to implement the transit benefit. We start off with a survey. We'll survey your employees to just determine their commuting patterns, their costs, their interests. So it's a customized survey that we work with employers individually on one-on-one basis, and we create the survey, and we'll either we can work on directly sending it out from ATP, or you can send it in your internal correspondence. Once the survey is out, after that we provide with detailed reporting also. All of our services are complimentary, so we do not charge for any of our services. We also have templates for implementing transit benefits. If you want to do it yourself and you want to do it like through WMATA, we can assist you with implementing those transit benefits because we have existing templates that you can just tweak, putting your company name or the company logo. We also come to your site and have like brown bag lunches or informal meetings where we would be providing your employees all the transit options that are available around your office location. We come with brochures and other kind of information that they would need. We also do provide customized trip planners to employees. So it's like a folder, and in the folder, like once we have the employee's home address, and we already know your office address, we pull up a customized trip planner which would have a detailed itinerary of how to get for the employee to get from their home, from their residence to the office. And it would have details of how much this trip is going to cost them, how far is the metro, how much do they have to walk, whether it's 1 block or it's 0.15 miles, whatever. And we'll provide all the necessary brochures. If we say, oh, take the 23A bus, we would also include a 23A bus brochure inside. So we do the whole customized trip planner for the employees just to make it as simple and easy for the employee to use transit. And of course, we will provide ongoing support. It's not like a one-time deal that we just, once you set, we are just going to leave you. No, we'll be always there to assist you any time that you need. Another great program which I would like to talk about is the GRH program, which is a Guaranteed Ride Home program. This program is, once again, it's free. It's mainly run by the commuterconnections.com. Guaranteed Ride Home program is designed to rescue commuters who are worried about how they'll get home when an emergency arises. A lot of people who ride are apprehensive about taking public transit because they feel, oh, what if there's an emergency and I have to get home? This is a great program. With this program, if a commuter who regularly uses transit, even if twice a week, that's how they define their regular commuter, whether you use transit, you bike, you walk, or you carpool, you are eligible for a free, reliable ride home when an unexpected emergency arises. So once you go on, you can go online in Commuter Connections and register for the Guaranteed Ride Home program. And in case of an emergency, there will be a cab dispatched right away to you and will take you home free of cost. You don't have to pay the cab driver anything. The only time what you have to pay is just maybe the tip to the driver, but you don't pay anything. For more information, I would suggest you could go into the commuterconnections.com and go into Guaranteed Ride Home program. And then some information on carpooling and vanpooling. We do understand public transit is not for everybody. Sometimes people live really far off from the metro and, from a metro bus or a metro rail, and it's really inconvenient to, drive like a few miles and stop your car and then go. So for those people who are living far out, a great option is carpooling and van pooling. You can start carpooling with somebody in your office or maybe in the neighborhood who's going the same way. So there's some information on carpooling and van pooling. It's just tips and tricks of how you can ways to arrange for a carpool. Like I said, it could be somebody from your neighborhood, somebody from your office. The other option is you could van pool. A company can give van poolers up to $115 in tax-free transportation benefit each month. There are a bunch of different types of van pools that can be arranged. It can be owner-operated van, where an individual just leases or purchases a van and operates a van independently, and then riders can independently decide like where they would meet, and work out the whole logistics. The other option is third-party vans, where a van pool vendor leases the van pool vehicle for a monthly fee that includes the vehicle operating cost, insurance, and maintenance. The vendor can contact directly with one or more employees. And then the other option for van pooling is employer-provided vans. We do see sometimes a lot of employers providing vans for their employee. So it might be a big group commuting from maybe Reston or Ashburn. So sometimes employers like to provide their own van so that that whole group from Reston or Ashburn or somewhere on that side can just they can all get together, hop on the van, and come together to work. So that's just some information on carpooling and van pooling. Pool rewards for cash for carpoolers. Again, Commuter Connections is promoting and encouraging people to carpool. So as a way, to encourage them to carpool, they have given an incentive for people. If eligible, you can earn $2 per day. It's $1 each way for each day you carpool to work over a consecutive 90-day period as assigned by Commuter Connections. So if you are interested in this program, I would encourage everybody to just go into Commuter Connections, COMMUTER connections.com, and you can get a lot more information on cash for carpoolers. And with that, it's the end of my my presentation. I just wanted to thank everybody for taking time to come attend the webinar. And I know towards the end, Sarah and Kelly have a Q&A, so I will be there. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask me towards the end, or you can always reach us at solutions@transpartners.com. We also have a Facebook page where we keep updating about the events or any kind of news, relevant news to our clients. So you can definitely become a friend on Facebook. We also have a Twitter account, so follow us on Twitter. We keep updating our Twitter feeds all regularly with, once again, relevant news. So yeah, thank you very much for letting me talk to you about ATP and some of the things that we can help you with. And with this, I will now turn it on to Sam.
Thanks, Pinky, for the great informative presentation. Next, we will turn it over to Sam Salkin of Urban Trans. Sam is an outreach specialist in Urban Trans's Washington, D.C. office. And during his time with Urban Trans, Sam has focused his energies on implementing outreach strategies, program development, and implementation, as well as marketing collateral development. His desire to create more livable communities through transportation solutions has led Sam to work on a variety of projects in Virginia, Maryland, and in the district. He graduated from George Washington University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Geography, and he currently lives car-free in Washington, D.C. Turn right over to you, Sam.
Great. Well, I just want to say, thank you again for having me. It's a cool opportunity to be presenting to folks in Arlington. We do a lot of our work in the city of Alexandria and Prince William County and Frederick County, and so it's great to be speaking to people in Arlington. So what I really want to do today is to build on what Pinky was talking about, specifically with tax benefits, and to really go into the scorecard for the green gains and go really point by point. But I think the overall message, as you can see from my title slide, is that we want to take transportation beyond 20 points. There's a lot of great things that a lot of great benefits your company can experience from these, from implementing transportation benefits beyond the Green Games, although the Green Games is a great way to get started. And so the great things about these transportation benefits is that they can be done anywhere. You don't need to be located in a green building or a LEED certified building in order to promote transportation benefits to your company. And the thing about it is that it's really a cultural thing, that corporate leadership and the leadership of peers is a lot of what drives it. And so if you have a company culture that promotes things like teleworking or taking public transportation to work or carpooling, that sort of thing is infectious. That gets people interested, gets people motivated. And again, it doesn't have anything to do with the location, or it doesn't have anything to do with paying for certain types of cleaning services or things like that. There is some cost, but it's relatively low cost. And the other great thing about it that we found, and I'm sure Pinky can speak to this, is that it really helps to enhance work-life balance. So much now we hear from employers that employees want to be given the opportunity to not to tune out when they get home and to have a little bit of separation, and that by implementing these programs, and we'll talk about how and why, it really gives you the opportunity to be with your family or to pursue things outside of the office. The other thing is that they will lower your costs. Pinky talked about the tax deductibility of transit benefits, but they're also low cost. The cost of providing your employees with a subsidy to ride Metro or to take a van pool is far less than the cost to give them an enhanced benefits package with things like their health care. It's a win-win in that sense. And then also you're helping staff save on their commute. This is great for recruitment and retention as well. So staff can say, it's great that this company makes commuting a non-factor when it comes to my costs every month. And then, the most important thing really for our conversation today is that it has a high impact on the environment. You can see on the slide there, these are 2 facts from the EPA, that a third of the greenhouse gas emissions in our country come from transportation, and 60% of that comes from personal vehicle use. And so, I guess if you were to extrapolate out, that means 1/6 of total, greenhouse gas emissions comes from personal vehicle use, maybe a little bit more. That's a staggering number, and it's really something that we all have the ability to control. And so, taking it beyond these, 20 points, I'm going to kind of delve into each of these specific topics, and we can see how they all add up to give you your 20 points for the Green Games. And so the first thing I want to talk about is measurement. So the 5 points you can get here. One is to do a travel survey to assess your employees' work and commute patterns. And then the other thing is to set a goal for your company, and that really kind of will come out of a travel survey. So a travel survey does 2 great things. It lets you assess your company's travel behavior overall. So you can see things like mode split, which is really just a fancy term for what % of my employees drive alone, what % carpool, what % take the bus, what % bike, basically breaking it out in that sense. And that's important just to see the overall behavior. And the other thing is that it will let you evaluate your interest in certain programs. So you could ask them, would you be willing to not drive alone if you were given $25 each month to help pay for your bike maintenance, or a parking space closer to the door for people who carpool? So you can really test those things with your staff. But the other thing that we almost think is better in our experience doing surveys is that aside from kind of the overall company-wide thing, you can look and see at individual employees and their propensity to change. So you can do 2 things. You can see, there are 7 people that are living in zip code 22314, which is Old Town, Alexandria. They get to work at 8:30 in the morning. Well, let's put them in a carpool. Maybe it's just 1 day a week, but at least we know that these people are there. So you can target individual people. So you could say, hey, Kelly, hey, Sarah, hey, Pinky, you guys live right around the corner from each other. Why don't you ride in together, 1 or 2 days a week? And then the other thing you can do with surveys is that you can do what we call segmentation, where you can determine your employees into 3 specific buckets. You can say, we've got regular users, we've got Sam bikes to work every day. We need to keep encouraging Sam and motivating Sam. We've got other people that are interested. So these are people that are on the fence, and those are the people that we like to work with to really get them to become the regular users. And then we have the people that aren't really interested, the not interested people. And not to say that we don't work with them, but these are often people that are handcuffed to their steering wheel, and they'd say, you could give me $1,000 a month, and I'm still not going to ride the bus. And so it's not really worth your energy sometimes to be working with those people. But on the flip side of that is that if you're getting those interested people to become regular users, they're kind of setting the norm. They're the ones who are saying, these are the people, the not interested users are saying, you know what, a lot of people here carpool, I'm kind of the odd man out. So it's, I don't know if I want to call it peer pressure, but it's sort of like that in a lot of ways. And the other great thing is it'll let you set your benchmarks for progress. Here in the DC region, 64% of commuters drive alone to work, and then 34% use quote-unquote alternative modes. So that's really not driving alone. You're biking, you're walking, you're carpooling, you're pogo sticking, whatever it is. For the Green Games, if you set the goal of 25 to 49% of your staff using alternative modes, you'll get 1 point. So that really puts you in line with the rest of the region. But if you could want to go for the gold and go with more than 50%, you can get 2 points from that. And so this is just a great way to start off the bat. If you're looking to get a lot out of your transportation points, this is the first place you should go, because this will let everything else fall into line. And so if you want to conduct a survey, Pinky mentioned it, you should definitely contact ATP to help with that. So the biggest thing, 9 points, are incentives. Incentives drive many of the things that we do. We, pay off our credit cards early so we don't get interest charges. We will, shop at a certain store to save gas at a gas station, whatever it is. And so the Green Games really focuses on incentives because that's what's going to motivate your staff. And so doing things like providing stipends for public transportation, which is what Pinky talked about, that's worth 2 points. Installing a charging station for electric vehicles, or having reserved spaces or discounted parking for alternative fuel or advanced technology vehicles. You're talking about your compressed natural gas, your hybrid vehicles, that's worth 3 points. Offering telework, flex time, or year-round compressed work week, I'll really get into that more in the slides, that's worth 2 points. Offering a carpool matching program, or a preferred discounted parking for carpools with on-site matching, worth 1 point. We'll talk about that. And then making your place more bike-friendly by having lockers, showers, bike racks, that's worth 1 point. And so the great thing is that it kind of gives employees the recognition and reward for their behavior. That it gives the people that were driving alone a little bit of a purpose to kind of switch it up, help them save money, but also it gives them a little bit of a warm, fuzzy feeling, a special sense that the company really, this is something the company values, and that the company values them for making that choice. And it's also, again, low cost, high reward. Everything we're talking about today is low cost, high reward. And so the first thing are the financial subsidies that Pinky spoke about, but the other things are what I like to call the infrastructural incentives. So these are kind of things that create a sense of priority and VIP. So if you have someone that drives in a carpool and they get to park closest to the door, that's a VIP. That's like employee of the month. That sends a big signal to the rest of your company. Same thing with the alternative fuel vehicles. Same thing with installing electric vehicle charging stations. This here on the right is a picture that I pulled off the internet. I mean, they're very snazzy looking, and even kind of that alone says to your employees, this matters to our company. We're gonna, people aren't gonna build a gas pump in their parking garage, but for them to build, a vehicle, an electric charging station, that's like giving away free fuel to everyone. If you want to think about it like that, that says a lot. And then also doing things like bike parking, or having lockers and showers for people to change so they're not dripping with sweat. Not to sound graphic, I know it's a gross day out today, but I'm sure if you were doing it yesterday or the day before, if you were biking to work, you could definitely relate to that. And so again, this is the VIP side of things. This is letting people know that, letting everyone know that we value these people and the choices they make get more of a, we give them more than we give to the people who drive alone. So the other things are alternative work schedules. So things like compressed work week. This is big, big with the federal government, and I don't know if any of the companies on the line do this, but it basically means working more hours over fewer days. And so there, you can configure it any number of ways, but the two most popular options is what we call 80/9. So that means working 80 hours over 9 days. And so people will work 9-hour days every day for 2 weeks, but then they'll get a day off every other week. So a lot of people call it their Flex Friday. That's the same thing. For people that are really ambitious, you could work 40 hours over 4 days. So that means 4 days in the week you work 10-hour days, and then you get every Friday off, every Monday off. Again, companies to make sure that they can accommodate that, but it's a very attractive option. And so then the other side of alternative work schedules is flex time, and this is really, the great thing about compressed work weeks is that people are not driving to work that day, so there's less traffic on the road. There's less emissions. There's also one less day people need to pay to get in their car to drive to work. Flex time works in sort of a similar fashion, that it's intended to kind of get people off the road at the busiest time. And so your company could set core hours. You could say, everyone needs to be here between 10 and 4, but you can get here as early as 8 a.m. or get here as late as 10 a.m. as long as you're here between 10 and 4. And so this is attractive for people that might want to be home when their kids get home from school, or might be good for people who want to see them off in the morning. You know, if the family can make it so that one parent is home in the morning and another is home in the afternoon just to receive their kids, it's great. Or if you go to boot camp, you know, I mean, there are any number of things. It really works with your schedule more. And then telework. Telework is great because it lets staff, you know, conduct their work from home or another location. And, you know, there are no two telework programs that are the same. You could be, you know, teleworking 1 day a week, or you could telework 5 days a week. I actually am speaking to you from my home office. I am a full-time teleworker, so I can let you know a little bit more about what that's like. But as a result, I don't pay anything in commuting costs. I probably save money on coffee because I brew it at home. So you're not sitting in gas. You're not sitting in gas. You're not sitting in traffic. You don't have to pay for gas. You don't even have to deal with the metro. You know, every morning I deal with taking a few steps to my desk. And so a great way to really get this going at your company, if you're interested, is to do a pilot program where you test the waters, maybe pick a few select people, one department, and say, you know, we're going to try 1 day a week for you to telework. And the great thing about being located in Arlington is that you have access to the Telework Virginia program that will give you $35,000 in free money to start or expand your program. So if you need to buy laptops for your staff or install a certain kind of server, they will guide you through the process of creating your program, and they'll also help you out financially as well. The next thing I want to talk about is smarter travel. So this is about a smart travel policy for your company that will help, you know, commuting is one thing, but people have to travel for business all the time. And so, you know, you get 1 point for having a policy that requires public transportation to get to meetings. Providing access to fleet car sharing or bike sharing services is worth 1 point. You know, Arlington is now part of Capital Bike Share, and there have been zip cars there for a long time. There's plenty of access to shared vehicles. Requiring employees to rent alternative fuel and advanced technology vehicles, along with an anti-idling policy. I'll talk about that. And then providing teleconferencing capability to cut down on travel. I think this one is great, and it's great because we're really doing it today. We could have all gotten together in a conference room and driven and gotten places, but instead we're doing this virtually, and I think that that's a growing trend that I'm sure we've all done before and is really one of the most green options possible. So yeah, so business traveling impacts your sustainability as much as commuting. You know, you say we'd like for you, if possible, to take the metro to your meeting, but if you have a policy that says, you know, if you have to travel a certain distance at a certain time, you take the metro, take the bus, take Dash, take ART. The other thing is that, you know, there are other options, like I said, Zipcar. So say you need to go to Tyson's Corner, which isn't easily accessible. You can still say rent a Zipcar to get there and, you know, reimburse for that. If you're going into DC or other parts of Arlington, Capital Bike Share is a great option as well, and it's growing by leaps and bounds every week. You know, or taking Metro if possible. And if you're having long distance travel, you know, air travel is one of the worst things we do for the environment. So if you have to go to, you know, New York, Boston, Richmond, maybe consider taking Amtrak. And then when people have to rent cars when they go places, see if it's possible for them to get hybrid or electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are not as prevalent yet, but hybrid vehicles are definitely being offered by most rental companies. And then the other thing is when people are driving, you know, have them sign on to an anti-idling policy. And so I won't read the text that you can see before, you can see on the screen. This is just kind of a sample anti-idling policy that Urban Trans has done with one of our clients in Atlanta, Georgia. So kind of gives people a sense of what their expectations are when they're driving. So I see I have about a minute left, so I'm just going to get through these next slides quickly. And then remote meetings when possible. Again, we're doing it today. It is cheaper. It is less environmentally destructive than traveling. And it's great because, you know, we're interacting with each other. I would have, you know, if we were in a group, I would have said, you know, hello. And if you were all on mute, I'm sure you would have said hello back to me. I'm sure that maybe, you know, when I say goodbye, you'll say goodbye back. But regardless, it's a great way to get information across. And so efficient fleets, this is really just, do you have an efficient use or purchase policy for your company vehicles or fleet? 1 point for having routine service. You know, cars that are well maintained are less likely to spew out gross emissions as much. And then have an established policy to reduce your fleet or transition the fleet to alternative vehicle. And so as you're transitioning out your fleet, maybe you want to consider getting alternative fuel vehicles, or if you have fleet vehicles, transitioning to them to zip cars or car sharing or something like that. Consider having hybrids when you replace them. So sorry I sped through that last slide, but I just want to kind of focus back to the beginning and say, you know, this is a great way to rethink not just getting 20 points for the green games, but thinking about your impact on the environment, how to increase employee productivity, how to provide your employees the benefits that will work to recruit new staff and retain the existing ones and really focus in on work-life balance for your staff. And so I know we'll do questions at the end. This is my contact information, and I'm happy to follow up with anybody via email or phone, or feel free to ask me a question after the presentation. So thank you again for having me.
Great. Thanks a lot, Sam. That was a great presentation, nice walkthrough of the scorecard, and pulling out some details on how folks can implement some of those actions. So thanks a lot. And our final presenter today is Daniel Moran of Hilton Garden Inn, located in Shirlington, here in Arlington. He has some best practice case study sort of to share with everybody today. He has about 10 years of operational experience in the hospitality industry, and he's going to talk about some of the great things that they've done in that sector. So I'll turn it over to you, Dan.
Thank you, Sarah. And actually, I'm going to talk about briefly our specifics at our hotel, what we do, and it's going to kind of give you an idea and an overview of what you guys could do at your own facilities. Back in 2009, December, Hilton Garden Inn established an account with Corporate Services, Commuter Direct, which Pinky explained was one of 3 other third-party vendors that you could use. In setting up this account, we worked closely with ATB. Cheryl is our representative. She set up different plans that we used in our orientation packet. She was there on our orientation days. She actually helped enroll all of our employees that were interested at the time of the orientation for the Commuter Direct. She was forefront in setting us all up, explaining to the managers and the HR representatives who are going to be doing this for the employees. And she's actually been key in helping us throughout the last year and couple months with our Commuter Direct services anytime we have any questions or problems. As you can see from the notes here, they customize the enrollment. Pardon me for one second. Right now, currently, we have 37 employees that are enrolled. That's approximately about 65% of our current staff. And an interesting fact about that, actually, of that 65%, about 70% of them were employees from the start on the onset of the hotel back in 2009. So as a recruitment and retention standpoint, it's definitely, I can't say if it's a direct relation to the Commuter Direct program, but it's definitely an added benefit that we feel strongly about supplying to all of our employees. When the hotel was established, of course, we did have a green initiative. We are Arlington County's first LEED certified hotel, and right now the only LEED certified hotel. But not only that, if any of you are familiar with the Shirlington area, parking limitations were also a definite concern as far as the employees and the guests. So coming up with a sustainable program to be able to reduce the amount of vehicles that we have in the neighborhood, as well as emissions, was definitely a big concern of ours. So currently we provide $60 or $65 a month in benefits to our employees. We have an option that the employees, if they wish, can add up to $230 in addition to the $65 we supply from their paycheck tax-free. Currently, we have about half of our employees that add an additional amount based on their transportation needs, whether they're taking the bus or the metro or a combination of both. As far as new employees goes, we offer the benefit whether it's full-time or part-time, and generally we have a short enrollment time between the time of hire and the actual time the benefit's in place. So if you have any questions specific to our property, feel free to ask me during the Q&A, and I'll be more than glad to help.
Great. Thanks a lot, Dan.
All right. Go ahead. Oh, sorry.
Now we'll go ahead and open it up for questions to any of our speakers, whether it be for Pinky, Sam, or Dan. If you're connected on the phone, you can, we've unmuted all of the attendees. You can feel free to ask your question or click the raise hand icon in your dashboard.
Okay. Xana, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi. Yeah, my question's for Sam. He had mentioned something about bike maintenance costs, and I was just wondering if you had more information about that and if that's something the employer can offer, because I ride my bike to work. You know, sometimes I do take the bus if it's raining like today, but I don't know if I would be eligible for any type of like benefits because I don't really have a regular amount that I spend on the bus each week. But you know, any type of bike maintenance cost would be, you know, a nice benefit for me since I ride my bike.
Yeah, totally. It's so as part of the stimulus bill, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, there was a provision put in that allows commuters to claim up to 20%. It was $15, and I think it's gone up to $20 a month in pre-tax benefits, similarly to how you pay for the bus or for the train or a van pool. And so there are certain companies, I'm pretty sure that Commuter Direct and WageWorks have kind of created a system where you can get vouchers to use that money at local bike shops. And so what I would do if I were you, if you're interested in that, I don't know if your company provides, you know, smart benefits or any kind of pre-tax subsidy to employees to help pay for, you know, public transportation, but I would, you know, first see if they do, and then if you have a local bike shop that you work with, you might want to check with them to see if they take any of those vouchers or if they know anything about that, and then, you know, work with your company to provide them. But it, you know, it's a great option that that's a newer option, and not a lot of people know about it. And so you may or may not spend $20 a month each month, but over the course of the year, that could definitely add up to, you know, new tubes, new tires, tune-ups,
Yeah.
everything like that, especially if you're commuting every day.
Okay. And so I should go to Commuter Direct to kind of get more information, or?
Well, you can go to Commuter Direct. I would check, you know, first, I don't know, you know, the specifics of your company or how they handle pre-tax benefits, but if they offer them, I would check with HR to make sure that it's something they're comfortable with you doing, and then to work with, you know, see if your bike shop takes any of the vouchers that are offered, and then from there you can work back with your company if that makes sense. So I don't know. I don't work with Commuter Direct so much. That's probably something Pinky can speak to. I don't know if they're working specifically on bike vouchers at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, this is Pinky. I think I agree with Sam, and the first step would be first to just check with HR, and then, you know, circle back, you know, with the bike shop, and then, and of course, like, since, are you located in, I'm guessing you're located in Arlington, right?
Yeah, and I'm actually working on getting our company on board with pre-tax benefits for public transit and everything.
Oh, great.
So we don't actually have that right now, but I'm looking into, you know, doing that probably through WMATA since it's free and we're local anyway. But I just wasn't sure if the bike costs was a part of that program or if it was separate.
Yeah. You know, once we get the call, you can always shoot me an email, and you know, I can easily help you out with it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Feel free to click the raise hand button or type your question or comment in. But we would encourage you to take advantage of our great expert speakers.
And just a quick reminder again that today's webinar has been recorded or is being recorded, and we will post it to the website on the events page in the past events section. So if there's anything you wanted to review again or pass along information to any of your associates, feel free to do so.
All right. Cassidy, I don't know if you're going to be able to ask your question out loud because I don't think you entered all three of the numbers. I'm not able to unmute your phone. So you might type your question into the chat window for us and we can read it. Oh, there you go. Hold on. All right, are you there, Cassidy?
Yeah.
Okay, we can hear you.
My question was for the cash for carpoolers. Just going back to that, is that a sort of a tax program, or is that sort of a is that more of a third-party program that you have to apply to individually, or can that work through HR as well?
No, that you would apply individually, and actually you can go into commuterconnections.com, and you can go online, read some more information on it, because I didn't put, like, there's a whole wealth of information on their website. I just tried to capture all the really relevant and important ones on the slideshow. But if you go to commuterconnections.com, you can sign up over there and read more about Cash for Carpoolers.
Thank you.
All right, I don't see any other questions or raised hands. So I guess with that, we just want to remind you, this coming Monday, our Mingling Monday breakfast at ATP's offices actually at 8 a.m. is on employee and tenant engagement. And we have a really great presenter who actually has started the EPA Energy Star Change a Light, Change the World campaign, if you've ever heard of that over the past several years. She's now a consultant, Wendy Reed, and she's going to be present to really talk to you about how to structure your messaging to affect behavioral change. So it's going to be a little bit less of kinds of events that you could host and more a strategy session on how to craft messages in the sustainability world to actually get people motivated and implementing changes. So we strongly encourage all of you. We're very excited to have her coming and presenting, so we encourage all of you to register for that event, and feel free to send more than one person if you'd like. We'll send a reminder out again tomorrow. And then May 31st, our Timeout Tuesday is on waste in the office, and we know this has been a very, very hot topic among all of the office tenants, how to deal with your waste and recycling, and we will have several experts on hand for that lunch series here at Courthouse, and you'll see information come out about that shortly. So with that, we can go ahead and conclude today's webinar, and hopefully we'll see you all on Monday.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks to all the speakers once again, too.